Hey everybody, Farmer Biker here. I realized something the other day that I haven't done a formal introduction of all the different kinds of hogs that we have on our little farm here. So let me introduce you to all the different hogs and different breeds that we have, and a quick little history behind each one of them, because we have several different breeds here. Berkshires, Chester Whites, and other ones that some of them have a pretty long history as far as a breed, and some of them actually are pretty recent. So, all right, so this girl right here, her name is Nosy, because she's inquisitive about. She's been that way since the day we got her. She's always been really inquisitive about everything that's going on. How you doing, girl? And she's a Berkshire. So the Berkshire's characteristics are, hi, yeah, see, very nosy. She's got white markings on her face, and then she's got, they're kind of muddy, but she's got, the lower part of her legs are like a white socks, and then the rest of her body's black. The breed originated, in the early 1800s in a town called Reading, which is in Berkshire, England, which is why they're called Berkshires, the county of Berkshire. And we got her when she was probably about two and a half months old, and she was one of the two first little gilts that we got about, I'd say, 8 months ago, something like that. The Berkshires are an interesting breed. They were considered to be endangered, or I guess endangered there for quite a while, because there were only like 300 or 400 breeding sows. But then they went, somebody in Japan bought a bunch of them, and they started to breed them to try and create what's known as, like, I think it's the Wagyu of pork, which is like the super marbled, succulent, really succulent pork, because pigs are real big over in Asia, and China and Japan, in that area. And so, but she's super friendly. We go in there all the time and pet her on the back and rub on her, and she loves to be scratched. And all of our pigs are that way, actually. They're really friendly. But now this girl right here, she's a Chester White cross, actually. Mostly Chester White, but she's Chester White cross. So, now, we got her at the same time that we got her, but the Chester White is a much younger breed. They're all around the turn of the 1900s, I think, which I suppose you could call it turn of the century, but it was the last century, because we're in 2000s now. But they're from Chester County, Pennsylvania, and they're a cross of multiple different breeds. Try to create a large white pig that's got droopy ears, but not super droopy ears, like the Gloucestershire Old Spots, which are from England, which we have one of those also. But they're mainly bred for their hams. If you look at the back end of that girl, her hams are ridiculous. I mean, this pig right here, I would 100% say is almost show quality. She's got a long straight back. She's got fantastic bacon. So her shoulders are ridiculous, and her hams are unmatched against any other pig that we have. And they are considered one of the top 5 as far as one of the top 5 dominant breeds here in the U.S. So there's, aside from the Yorkshires, the Chester Whites are like right up there for, like, they used to be the most common. I don't think they're the most common anymore, but they're, because of their shoulders and their hams, especially their hams, which is big during Christmas and Thanksgiving, and their bacons, because they're long and lean. They're considered a bacon pig, which is a long, lean pig with a big belly, a long belly. So it's fantastic for bacon, because Americans love bacon. And they're still, to this day, one of the most popular breeds out there. And so we've named her Chunk because of her size. Because from the get-go, she was just all about the food, and did everything that she could to just eat and eat. And she was just a chunky. She was a chunky butt, always, from the minute that we got her. And I mean, look at those hams. Look at that. I mean, if you're looking for a hog to slaughter, I mean, that is just unreal as far as breeding is concerned. And so yeah, she's one of our main breeding sows that we breed with our Yorkshire boar. Alright, so these two here, which we got from our neighbors, which y'all have seen in previous videos, they're both American Yorkshires. Actually, he's an American Yorkshire boar, but she's a American Yorkshire Blue Butt, which is a Yorkshire Hampshire cross. And the American Yorkshires were bred obviously out of the English Yorkshire, which comes from Yorkshire, England, which that breed actually goes back to the mid 1700s. And so it's a pretty old pig breed. I mean, we're talking like, you know, around the time that the Revolutionary War happened. And so the main thing that this particular breed is, well, first of all, the Yorkshires are the most common breed in America because they're the most common breed that is used in domestic pig production for consumption. So when you see online, you know, the pig houses where they've got 30, 40,000 pigs that they're growing out for slaughter, they're going to be Yorkshires, or a Yorkshire Chester White cross, or somewhere of that nature. And they have fantastic shoulders. You know, he may not look as far as proportion on his rear end as well as her, but he's 600 pounds, and so he's a big boy. You can see he's just throwing that heavy wire fence. I mean, if he wanted to, he could get out, but he doesn't want to because he's got his girl there. They're like 3.5 years old. They live together for pretty much their entire lives. But she's pretty close. She's bigger than those two are. She's a solid 400 pounds. But the kind of the main characteristics of a Yorkshire breed is they've got the erect ears. They don't have the floppy ears like those two have. You know, and they're a hardier pig. They've got more hair. As you can see, they've got more hair on them than those do. Those have a finer hair. They're more designed for like being indoors or whatever, but these are better for being outdoors. And so living outside in these pens, you know, they have no problems. You know, they'll either move over to the dry stuff or they'll move into their little wallow they got over there. We usually give them hay. They've eaten all the hay, which they're really good at eating all the hay. And being that they're the most common pig in America, you could pretty much find them anywhere you go. Any state, any county in America, you jump on Craigslist and you type in pig and you're going to find a Yorkshire or a Yorkshire cross of something, because they're, like I said, the most common pig in America. There's millions of them that are raised every year for slaughter. Most of what we buy in Walmart is Yorkshire meat. And they farrow usually 10 or better piglets every time. She had 11 this last time she farrowed. She's pregnant again. And we're hoping that she'll have 10 plus again. Which is fantastic if you're trying to raise them for meat, for profitability of some kind, because it costs about $250 to $275 every farrowing cycle. And so if you've got 10 babies out of them, you know, $50 a pop, that's $500. You know, you make a couple $100 every 3 months. You know, you have a handful of them. You can you know, have a little bit of side income, not a huge amount, but a little bit of side income, and you get the joy of having animals, because pigs are very social. They're very, very social animals. They're inquisitive. They like to know what you're doing. They're always sticking their noses through the fence, wanting to sniff on you. They love when you pet on them and stuff, and scratch on them and spray them with water and all that fun stuff. So on to the next one. So this right here is our young boar. His name is Walter, and he's a Hampshire. A Hampshire's characteristics, the main characteristics are erect ears. They've got a black head, a black bottom half, and then they've got a white stripe around the belly, and front legs are white. And so the Hampshire, along with any of the other Shire pigs, are from England, obviously, because they've been around since, around the late 1700s, early 1800s. And so, you know, it's a good 300-year-old breed. And the main thing that they're noted for is their shoulders, and they're a long, lean pig. So there's two different main kinds of pigs. And there's what's known as a bacon pig, and is known as a lard pig, which means they're like short, kind of squatted. They're fat. They got a lot of lard on them. And there's the ones that are leaner, and you get better cuts out of them. You get more meat, leaner meat, but still have some fat and marbling on it. And that's what we have. We have what would be considered the bacon pigs. And so the Hampshires are known to be hardy because they're a British pig, and pretty much all the British pigs are known to be hardy animals because of the conditions that they have to live in, because living outside in England, you know, with a lot of rain, and they've got to have hair, and you know, it can get pretty nasty there, I guess, from some of the storms coming off the Atlantic coast. But they're known for a moderately fast breeding pig. They're the fourth most common breed in the United States, and so they're pretty dang common. He'll be ready to breed when he's about 8 months old, which is about 4 months. He's ready to breed now, but that's when we're going to allow him to be bred, or allow him to breed our sows. He's our replacement boar. We're going to replace Thor over there with him. And the main characteristic that they have is, aside from the fast growing, is their longevity in sows. And so any sows that we keep back from him that we want to raise up in a few years, they usually are solid producers for a good 6-7 years, which, as far as, an intensive breeding pig, is a long time. Most sows that are bred intensively, you usually only live to be about 3 years old, and we like to keep our animals longer than that, especially if they're highly productive. Our blue butt Yorkshire over there, she's 3 years old, and she's still very productive and very active. And having a Yorkshire Hampshire cross is a very, very very good cross to have as far as production is concerned, because they're a fast-growing pig, they're a good meat pig, they're a good bacon pig, they've got a lot of lard on them, and they're just a very, very good animal if you want to raise your own meat for having it, self-sufficiency on your farm. Now we're going to come to the oddball of our little pig setup. This here is Spots, and Spots is a Gloucestershire Old Spot. It's I guess you would consider it to be an English pig, but they're also very popular in Scotland. Hence, if you can see all the hair on her, they're what you would kind of consider to be almost a lard pig. They get really big. Like the sows are 500 pounds, the boars are 650 pounds. The breed is mid-1800s. They were considered to be like the peasant breed, I guess you would call them, because they really didn't have a society form until about 110, 120 years ago to start recording the breed, because, back in England, if it didn't have anything to do with nobility, nobody cared, 100 years ago. So, but she's long and lean, but she's flabby at the same time. And if you look at some of the bigger ones and the old ones, they were kind of like a big chunk. And usually pigs that have shorter faces and big chunks, that have like a big round body, you tend to be a lard pig. They've got a lot of fat on them. And if you really think about it, the way the peasants were back in England a couple hundred years ago, fat was energy back in those days. They used lard to cook with, they used lard to make soap with, they used lard to make candles with, along with tallow, which is derived from beef and horse fat. And so having a pig that produced a lot of lard and meat at the same time was really, I guess it was really important for the lower classes in England, 150 years ago. But she will be one of our breeding sows, and she'll be bred to him in about 3 months, which is one reason why they live together. Pigs, you see them as breeding animals, but in all reality, they do like to befriend their boar. They're kind of choosy about that type of thing. If you put a sow or a gilt in with a boar they don't know or they don't really like, they can fight. And the boar maybe eventually will get her, but you put them in with a boar that they know and somebody maybe they were raised with or that they've had relations with for several times, then it's a lot easier process and it's a lot less stressful on the animals. And I'm all about less stress. I want them to be happy. Pigs are easy to keep happy. All you pretty much got to do is just, make a wallow for them, give them enough food, make sure they're in the shade, and pet them and give them some attention. Like I said, they're very social animals, and they'll be happy. I mean, they're not an overly complicated animal, and they're super, like I said, they're super social. We can get in there and I can sit on him and rub on him and mess with his ears and stuff, and he's just happy as can be. They love attention. In the wild, they live in big groups, big family groups, and one squeals and all of them come. Which is one reason why when we pull the babies off, we got to be a bit careful with it, because if they start squealing, all the mamas will try to come through the fence at you. But it's very good instinct for, they're very protective of their babies, which is a good thing to have. When you got one sow and you've got 10 babies, and you're giving her some scratches there. But you see all that hair she's got on her? If you can see all the hair picking up, that's definitely a Northern English, Scottish type of, because of the cold conditions. But, and then that little boy right there, that's our bar hog. His name's Porkchop. And he is the product of our 2 Yorkshires. And he's being raised up for the inevitable, as you can imagine. He's a bar hog, which means he has no cojones. If you saw the last video or the one before that, he has a final destination, but that's part of livestock on the farm. But look at that. Anyhow, I'll show you the last hog. We got one more hog that I need to show you guys that is by far my favorite hog on the farm. And I'll tell you what, she's a beaut. And here it is. The best hog I got. After all, I'm a farming biker. I gotta have a bike, you know, to be a farming biker. Anyhow, that's a 2008 Harley-Davidson Softail Custom FX. Custom being all the chrome. There's chrome all over this thing. Bags are hiding some of it. There's chrome back in there. Taillight bezels are chrome. Chrome crankcase cover. Chrome oil tank. It's all chrome. There's chrome all over it. I know y'all haven't seen this bike in a while. It's been several months, but there's a main reason why I haven't been riding it. And this right here is the reason for it. Get that piece of grass off. If you can see in the camera, those are cords. This tire has 6,000 miles on it. That's a Bridgestone. I'll tell you right now, I will never, ever buy a Bridgestone again. I'm not happy at all. I don't know if y'all can see, but this is mushroomed out real bad. And I'm pretty dang PO'd about it. And I'm gonna order a Mesler tire for it. I'm actually getting Meslers for both the front and the back. So this is my bike. It's I rode this bike down from Montana. I went to Sturgis in 2019. When we were living up there, we decided to move to Florida. And so I rode it down 2,700 miles. And I led the way. It was a hell of a trip, I'll tell you that. A lifetime experience. I encourage anybody who sees this to do that. Do a cross-country trip. Because it was one heck of a journey. And a lot of fun. I'm hoping that within the next couple of years, a couple of buddies of mine that I've made down here will be able to go to Sturgis again. I'll be able to go again. They've never been. They all want to go. And I want to go again. I got a really good friend of mine who lives in Rapid City, which is about 30 miles from Sturgis, South Dakota. So, but there she is. Best hog I got. We'll give her a quick start for you guys. Y'all can hear her purr. She's got Vance and Hines pipes. It's a Screaming Eagle air intake, but there's nothing else done to it. It's got a 96 twin cam. It's loud. Sounds aggressive. I love it. Loud pipes save lives. I don't care what anybody says. There's been several times I've been riding. Somebody done something stupid and I just lay on it, throw it in neutral and just rip on it. It'll spin their head. So, there she is. Thanks for watching, y'all. Ride safe, like you stole it.